A long time ago, there was a man named Naaman. He was a general. He was a leader people believed in. He'd even humbled the kings of Israel. But Naaman was an outcast even in his own country because he had a disease. He had leprosy. It was a skin disease where no one would want to touch him. He had never lost a battle, but he'd been brought down a peg by leprosy. One of his servants, a little girl from Israel, told him, "There's a prophet in Israel who could make you well." My grandpa, my mom's dad, he always had a this dry patch of skin. I guess that's what it looked like to me. It was this dry patch of skin on his legs, sometimes on his arms. It's called psoriasis. It's this skin disease, not contagious or anything. By the way, people in Israel would have called that leprosy. So my grandpa just kind of lived with this. It was annoying, but it wasn't going away. He didn't like it, but he couldn't fix it. But then his doctor told him one day, "Hey, all you need to do is go out, spend a lot of time in the sun, get nice and tan, and as you do that, that will help the psoriasis go away." Now, Naaman knew that he was an important man. The kingdom of Aram was more powerful than it had ever been before, because Naaman had led them to victory time and time again. Naaman was used to being treated with respect. So when the prophet Elisha wasn't even getting out of his tent to greet him, when the prophet Elisha was telling him to do something as mundane as jump in the river and bathe 7 times, it felt like it was beneath him. He'd bathed in rivers thousands of times before. That had never cured his leprosy. Naaman thought that this was just a big joke to the prophet, so he jumped into his chariot to go home, when one of his servants spoke up and said, "Father, if the prophet had commanded you to do something difficult, would you not have done it? How much more should you do it if all he says to you is wash and be clean?" So this has been a crazy week. Weirdly, I think it was just last week, a week before I recorded this, when things still seemed mostly normal. And there was a night when it was almost bedtime, and Caleb was goofing off in the bathroom rather than, getting ready for bed. And I told him, "Okay, I know you need to wash your hands, so go do that." And Luke was about ready to run downstairs, so here I am running from one kid to the other. I'm about to run after Luke to keep him from running downstairs. And just at the very last moment, out of the corner of my eye, I see Caleb get the smirk on his face, and he takes his hands and he puts them in the sink and rubs them like this a little bit. Only he's not using soap. He didn't even bother turning on the water. He just kind of stuck his hands in there, trying to fool me into thinking that he had done it. And I'll be honest, I laughed. I couldn't get mad. I laughed and I said, "All right, that was funny. Nice try. You nearly got it past me, but you didn't. Besides, let's be honest. How often does getting mad at a kid get them to wash their hands better next time? Anyways, the other reason why I didn't want to yell at him is because I realized, you know what? We as grown-ups, we have so many simple rules that we expect kids to follow, but kids also learn something else from us. They learn that we don't always follow the rules that we give them. We tell them, wash your hands all the time. They notice when we forget to do it. Right now, we're at such a weird point in life where people from the CDC and everywhere else are telling us to do all these simple things. Of course, wash your hands for 20 seconds, and yet, isn't it true we kind of skip over that because we're busy to run off to the next thing? They say, keep your distance from folks, stay 6 feet away. That's easy. And yet we want to spend that time. We want to be close to people. They tell us, we need to get this disease under control right away so that way it doesn't spread. We need to be willing to stay at home even if we don't feel sick, because people can spread this for 2 weeks before they feel any symptoms. That's how Italy got so out of control. There are easy steps that we can take to help our world get back to health. And yet, just like Naaman, for us, it can feel beneath us to do the simple things that we're being asked to do. Now, I want to be totally honest. There are big differences between the story of Naaman and what we are going through right now. The truth is that we are being asked to do things that are costly. Things are happening right now. Some people are getting laid off. Other people are worried about what their jobs are going to be like in the future. Others are wondering if their retirement plan is still going to work. And the optimist in me wants to believe that this is all going to work out in the end. But let's be honest, right now it's scary. This is scary. But even though we don't know what it's going to look like on the other side, we know we're going to get there. I mean, thank God we're not in one of the hot spots where COVID-19 is all over the place. But even if it is in our community somewhere, we know how to beat it. The social isolation, it's hard, I know. But you know what? It's going to beat it. This virus, we're going to beat it. It'll take us a while to get the vaccine, but we're going to beat it. The story of Naaman is a story of faith. A person desperately wanted to be made well. He was prepared to do just about anything to get there. He was shocked, though, when basically all that was asked of him was that he step out in faith. Go, wash in the Jordan River 7 times. He was expecting God to ask more of him than that. Instead, all God asked for was for him to step out in faith. Faith is the foundation of our relationship with God because it says, God, I trust you. God, I believe that you are good. God, I believe that you are for me. God, I believe that you can be relied on. Faith is what connects us to God, and faith is going to get us through this. as Paul says to us, I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor powers, nor anything present, nor things to come, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all of creation will be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Jesus Christ our Lord. Time to handle a few details because this is different. So church is going to be different for the next while. We can't gather on Sundays. There's just no way that we can justify that during a time when that could spread a disease around. And if this seems a little extreme, the truth is that the church, in its 2,000 years of history, we've been through times of diseases that have swept through societies. We know what it's like to take a step back from worship because we need to. And because we live in a digital age, we're going to be online more than normal. Please check in. We're going to have devotions. We're going to have verses on our Facebook page and on our web page. We will have encouragements that go out online. If you can, please share these with folks who are connected to our church but who aren't as comfortable going online. Also, because we have members of our church who are simply not able to leave their house right now, please call one another. Think of the people that you would normally see on a Sunday. Reach out to them. Call them. Ask them how they're doing. Be the friendly voice that they need to hear. If you want to, give us a call at church, and we will give you suggestions of people that you could call so that we were making sure that we're staying in touch with the homebound and those who are unable to get out. Keep an eye on your neighbors. If you are healthy, if you are able to, Community Partners is desperately looking for people picking up groceries for people who don't dare step outside the house. You can drop off groceries at people's houses. Community Partners is well set up to get you in a position where you can bring groceries to people in a way that helps them out so much. Now, I noticed something today. I noticed that the eternal flame at church had gone out. Normally we've got people who will keep lighting that and relighting it. So I made sure to go there and light it again, because the whole idea is that we always have this candle lit as a witness to God's continual presence with us no matter what. In the same way, here's a challenge that I have to every member of Bethlehem. Participate in what we're calling 7 at 7. Take 7 minutes of prayer every day at 7 o'clock p.m. every day. The goal is so that we as a church can be praying together, connecting with one another every day. And it might not feel that direct, but by having time where we're all gathering to pray together, and what I ask you is please get a candle from somewhere in your house, find a candle, and then light it. That way we can all be sharing the light of Christ, the hope that is in the gospel. We can be sharing that together at 7 o'clock every single day. Please join now in a time of prayer. This is entitled Prayer for a Pandemic. May we, who are merely inconvenienced, remember those whose lives are at stake. May we, who have no risk factors, remember those most vulnerable. May we, who have the luxury of working from home, remember those who must choose between preserving their health or making their rent. May we, who have the flexibility to care for our children when the schools close, remember those who have no options. May we, who have to cancel our trips, remember those who have no place to go. May we, who are losing our margin money in the tumult of the economic market, remember those who have no margin at all. May we who settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home. During this time when we cannot physically wrap our arms around each other, let us find ways to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors. Amen. This is new for me. My hope is that this has been helpful. If you could put in the comments things that you'd like more of in future weeks, I'll do my best to help. My encouragement now, though, is to take some time with the music, to listen, to pray together, spend some time just dwelling in the presence of God. Then, when the time seems right as a family, pray the Lord's Prayer together. God bless you. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help. This too shall pass. Peace.